What first date behavior is a deal breaker? I think when they don't even ask you about yourself. Maybe that sounds weird, but I had a date that would be constantly talking about her life and friends and whatnot. I would ask her questions too, but she never once asked me about anything. My boyfriend has a friend like this. She literally never wanted to ask questions or get to know me unless I offered up details about myself. Even then, she'd turn the convo back to her. Possessive behavior. If this is how you act with someone you've just met, how would a relationship with you be? TLDR. When he hands you his wallet with lots of cash in it to show off. When he takes you to a strip club. When his friends show up on your date and when they spike your drink. Went on a first date a few years ago. He took me to an exclusive members only club. Bought the most expensive bottles of wine. Handed me his wallet to pay for the wine. Then excused himself to go to the bathroom. Also, I could see how much money he had. He had well over £2,000 in there. I thought that was weird, but chalked it up to him trying to impress me in a weird way. I wasn't. After that, he took me to a strip club where the bar staff knew him by name. I was incredibly uncomfortable, but it got even worse when two of his friends just coincidentally bumped into him at the club, sat with us, then hired strippers to sit on their laps. I stayed 5 minutes, then excused myself to the bathroom. The plan was to come up with an excuse to leave as soon as I got back. I returned, took another sip of my champagne, which I'd stupidly left unprotected before heading to the bathroom, stayed another 5 minutes, then said I had to leave. They tried everything they could to get me to stay, but I refused. As soon as I stood up, I felt lightheaded, and finally understood why. My drink had been spiked. I panicked and walked off, with my date following me desperately begging me to stay a little longer. He then offered to get in the taxi with me and escort me home. I refuse. I got to the taxi rank, got into a taxi, and we had a heated conversation with him offering to escort me home and me responding with I'm a big girl and can take care of myself. Taxi driver must have sensed something was off and he intervened telling him I'd said no, and that was that. He drove off, asked for my address, got me home safe and sound. By then I was passed out in the back of the taxi. I don't remember how I got indoors, but I remember waking up on the bathroom floor the next morning feeling perfectly fine. No sign of a hangover, or anything, which solidified my belief I was never drunk to begin with and was definitely spiked. In the voice of comic book guy, worst first date ever. That is completely fricked up. Glad you got home safe, could have been a disaster. Showing up late and not texting ahead of time. You're not playing it cool if you're 20 minutes late without saying anything. The amount of anxiety that would give me, especially as I'm a person who has to be 15 minutes early. Once, I was talking to this girl online, and things were going pretty well, so we decided to go for dinner. I showed up to the place 5 minutes early, so I waited, and kept waiting. Texted her 15 minutes after we were scheduled to meet, but didn't get a response. Waited for another 45 minutes then left. She messaged me later saying that she wasn't there because she lives in Indonesia. I live in New Jersey. Finding out that the reason why they asked you out is because they wanted to make their ex jealous. To make it worse, she had her friend invite the ex-boyfriend as well. Yikes, at that point I'd tell the ex what she's doing so he can run. Smelly, greasy hair, and no effort in appearance. If the first date isn't important enough for you to even shower, then how important will the relationship be to you? 100% agree. Last date I went on, pre-COVID. He turned up and washed and in a wrinkly shirt. The shirt didn't really bother me. The deal breaker was his pungent body odor. Showed up late getting all done up. Told via text, but was in a ratty hoodie, and her clothes smelled musty. Super shy, quiet, barely spoke, even when asked innocuous questions, until the movie started. Then she wouldn't shut the frick up, kept staring at me, and asking the dumbest questions like how'd you get so tall? Do you like movies? So, yeah, that sounds like someone who popped something that took a little while to kick in. Dang. Starting the date by saying that you've cleared your entire weekend, just in case this date works out and I'm free, no pressure. Making me do all the work, conversation wise. I don't mind being the lead driver, but you need to at least pull your own weight. I've been on some dates that felt more like interviews. I would try everything I could to get an actual conversation going, but they ended up as Q&A sessions. I went to see a movie with a girl who I'd been talking to for a few weeks. We went to see a movie and she starts sucking her thumb like a baby while watching the movie. I'm thinking weird tick I guess, but okay. Halfway through the movie she gets really emotional, drops to the floor and starts rolling around like a toddler. After about 10 minutes she gets up and acts like nothing happened. I don't know what to say at this point. At one point during the day she's telling me about another date she went on where she saw her friend halfway through and was speaking to her and the guy just walked off without saying bye or anything. As she's telling me this we bump into a girl she knows. They're talking for a bit and I try to introduce myself but she cuts me off to talk about something different. They're both acting like I'm not even there. This goes on for fricking 30 minutes. Half an hour of me just standing there like a dickhead as if I don't know either of them while it seems like they're both actively ignoring me. I try to say goodbye but it's literally like I'm completely invisible. I figure at that point either she didn't like me and somehow planned this intervention from her friend to save blatant turning me down, or she's just a rude person, so I just walk away. I get on the bus to go home and I get a message, hey why did you walk away? I was 17 at the time and it's the strangest date I've ever been on to this day. Halfway through the movie she gets really emotional, drops to the floor and starts rolling around like a toddler. After about 10 minutes she gets up and acts like nothing happened. What the actual frick? When we plan an actual date where we meet up somewhere, and at the last minute they bail. But wait, they're still free. All you have to do is go to their house. No. So, basically manipulation. If you manipulate me just once, I'm done. I'd say if I'm not worth leaving your house for, this isn't going to work. A guy where I worked was hitting on a girl on the lunch truck for over a month. She fillily said she would go out with him. So for the first date he took her to a XXXP show. Apparently she excused herself to go to the bathroom after a few minutes and never came back. I felt so sorry for her. I would have been scared out of my mind to be with someone that off. My mom had this happen to her. She said no over and over to this guy, until finally she gave it a shot and said yes. He took her to a porno drive-in and then tried to pretend that he hadn't known and that they should stay. She absolutely refused and pitched a huge fit so he would take her home. Asking me to suck his dong before even having a real conversation. This actually happened. To this day, I still don't know how to say his name or where is he from. Ugh, I've been there. It's annoying to get ready for a date and then just leave 2 minutes into it. When I ask someone out on a date, especially a first date, I expect that I will pay for the date. If it's a restaurant I don't make a big deal about me paying and I don't care if she makes any offer to pay or not. It's okay if I pay, or she pays, or we split, but I'll assume I'm paying and at least sincerely try if she's okay with it. But it is a deal breaker when I think she's assumed I will be paying and orders extra expensive stuff because she thinks it will be free to her. My buddy went on a date, and the woman ordered 2 entrees, so she could take one home for later. Brazen about it. That's just taking advantage of someone, which is absolutely a deal breaker. If someone does this, it's pretty indicative that they, for some reason, believe they're entitled to the other person's generosity and they have zero respect for it. I'm someone who will always pay for the first date, but if someone was being blatantly disrespectful like that, I'd leave them with the bill. Keeping talking about herself and the same subject. Evening. Went on a blind date once and this girl kept talking about a single trip she made 5 months prior and her dang bunny. It's all cute and stuff, but when I tried to say something about my pets or travel experience it would always go back to her. Also when I tried to steer the conversation away from anything but those 2 subjects she'd return after 4 minutes somehow. Big turn off. Going on a dinner, or lunch, breakfast, etc. date and ordering nothing because you ate before you came or aren't hungry. It's incredibly awkward to be the person on the other side of that since you showed up hungry and now you're supposed to just eat in front of the other person. Like, that's not weird. If I'm ever single again and this happens again, I'm just going to go home. I once made dinner for the man, who sat there, not eating anything, and then said he had to leave early because he had a dinner date, and I never bothered to even speak to him again. On my first date with a guy, he proceeded to tell me he'd had sex with 16 women and I could be lucky number 17. And then told me he generously rated me a 6/10. Solid move, dude. Solid move. This wasn't a first date, as she had told me she just wanted to be friends after that. But we did one friend date after. And this basically killed it. Let's go to Chick-fil-A, orders something for herself and then asks me if I want anything. Yeah, I'll just have a shake. We get to window and she turns to me, I'm kinda broke and don't have that much on me, can you pay? I would be fine with it if she had just asked me before if I minded buying her something. But to phrase it like she was the one paying and then switching it up on me, I'm just being used. To the server, gotta cancel that sandwich. It will be just the shake, thanks. Well, on one first date I had, the dude told me he used to be in a gang and killed 6 people, drove us into oncoming traffic, told me that there were 3 loaded guns in the car. This ride lasted at least 45 minutes there and back, and told me he was bipolar and was not taking any medication for it. But the deal breaker was when he stopped to get coffee at Taco Bell. The most distressing fact I learned was that Taco Bell sells coffee. Apparently some women can have profoundly poor hygiene, and also apparently there are smells that I am unable to power through. I wouldn't even judge a little body odor if it was just that. I mean, she could be nervous or just forgot the deodorant or something if that were the case, but I'm talking a foul miasma that lingered in my car for a couple days. Somewhere between horse girl and smash player. She also didn't wear underwear because of it being too much of a hassle. LOL, I'm sorry I lost it at smash player, LOL. I went on a date once with a guy who seemed lovely, funny, interesting and charming. We had dinner and ordered a bottle of wine. About 45 minutes in, I went to pour my second small glass of the evening. He picked up my glass, downed it in one and said, "1 glass is enough for a woman. I need you sober for what I'm going to do to you later." There was not a second date. Reading these comments has simultaneously eliminated my dating anxiety. Can't really screw the pooch worse than these guys. They are setting the bar pretty low, and made me lose more faith in humanity. Crossing a simple boundary I placed. Had a first date where a guy held my hand while I was driving and I said I'm not really much of a hand holder and put my hand back on the wheel. He took my hand back and said thank you for your sacrifice. This dance went on for the rest of the date. This guy also lifted his sweatshirt to reveal a t-shirt that had Jesus on it, which said I never said that, and asked what I thought of his shirt. Felt like a weird test. Rudeness to anyone. They're supposed to be on their best behavior at this time, so it's a major red flag if they're not trying to be. If they're rude on the first date, it's safe to assume they are on their best behavior. Best to just relate my all-time favorite worst first date and ultimate deal breaker. A friend set me up on a date w one of her co-workers that I'd only met once at her place of employment. The only time I had available was a Saturday right before my yoga class, so we agreed to meet up at a place I'd never eaten at. Mind you, the date who'd eaten there before suggested a place that was near where my class was. I show up wearing my yoga clothes, no pockets, loose-fitting sweat, no pockets, and a small 4x5-inch fanny pack. No pockets relevant later. We have lunch. Everything was going great. Then just before the bill arrives, the date goes to the bathroom, comes back, still having a great time. We finish our meal. The bill comes. 50/50 split. All of a sudden the date can't find their large motorcycle type wallet their money in it, then proceeds to accuse me of stealing it while they were in the bathroom and putting in my pocket. I stood up pointing out that I didn't have any pockets, opened my fanny pack to show other than $20. My hidden gym membership card. It was too small to fit anything as big as your standard sized motorcycle wallet. It didn't matter that I had 20 witnesses who verified that I never left my seat, much less the restaurant. The idiot date proceeded to throw a Kevin Karen sized tantrum demanding to search my car. So I gave the waitress my ID, then had her call the cops to escort me and the idiot out to my car and proved I did not have the wallet or anything else in there. Idiot comes back in, cop takes a report, leaves, and then idiot proceeds to claim that the waitress and I are friends and in cahoots, that we stole it and the waitress is hiding the wallet in the back. I reiterate, you chose this place. I do not know anyone here. I've never been here before since I'd only brought enough to cover my meal. I ended calling my stay-at-home mother sister to come there and lend me enough cash to cover the whole bill. Skipped my yoga class and went home in a huff. Called my friend. Told her what happened. She was shocked. Monday rolls around. Idiot gets to work. Opens their desk and boom, there's the wallet. Idiot call me to say I'm so sorry and wants to know if can we please have a do-over date. My response: oh heck to the no. Insult me by calling me a liar and a thief. Stiff me double the full $40 bill. Invade my privacy by demanding to search my car. You had your chance. You blew it and you can rot in heck for all I care. I can't believe he had the nerve to ask for another date, lol. Showing up to the date late on C, broke, and hoping I'll buy them liquor, then expecting I'll be cool hanging at her place with her and her boyfriend because he is pretty chill. That is how my last date went. Scraping at the bottom of the barrel doesn't even begin to cover WTF I just read. One-sided conversation, aka myself driving the conversation constantly and them putting in zero effort or giving one-worded replies. Always on their phone, reeking of sickies drugs. Talking about their ex all the time. Making zero efforts to even be interested. Being more than 30 minutes late without notifying me. This isn't necessarily a date, but we went out with a group of people one time and a few of them just berated the wait staff for absolute nonsense. Nope, not hanging out with you ever again. But sticking with that, I always try to notice how people treat waiters, especially if a mistake is made. If you are cool about it, you've made a good impression on me. I think seeing how someone handles an error is a really interesting measure. If someone can kindly report that there is a mistake or, in the instance of a small error, eat the meal anyway, that says a lot. If he's driving really fast on purpose, once in the restaurant obviously rude to waiter, and afterwards if he tries anything super sexual, I've had dude pull their dong out, literally, outside of BJ's. 2 first dates stand out. First one, we met on Tinder, talked for a couple weeks and hit it off fairly well. Meet up for first date and there's 3 problems. She doesn't look like her pics, smells like a 100-year-old ashtray that's never been emptied, and approximately 30 minutes in she pulls out a kilo of coke that she was supposed to bring to some guy while we're on our date and asked if I wanted some. After I rudely ended our date, she gave my phone number to all of her friends, her brothers, and her father. After weeks of threats from them, I finally got P and told her father to stop threatening me for telling off his coke dealing spawn. He immediately apologized, said that he thought she was out of that life and said he'd never bother me again. He also told everyone else what had actually gone down and they all apologized in time. Second one was going great at first. We were getting lunch and talking about random stuff when she brings up her exes. More specifically, their penises. She described, in graphic detail, the fact that she had never been with a guy that had a small penis, compared her first boyfriend to a 16-ounce Bud Light can, and her most recent ex to a foot-long hot dog from Sonic. Literally. She then said that she was tired of massive freaking dongs and said that the main reason she wanted to go out with me was because she wanted to try out something small, and before I could excuse myself from her life, she attempted to grope my crotch in the restaurant. Let it be known, I had never spoken about my penis, nor had she seen it. After I managed to get away, I blocked her on everything. I'm surprised someone would offer you coke from a brick worth tens of thousands of dollars. Whoever that is for ain't freaking around and will undoubtedly weigh it. Trying to force me to kiss you by grabbing my face so hard that it leaves thumb-shaped bruises on my jawline. For 2 weeks. Literally kissing me with an unhinged jaw and being all tongue. C. Harry Potter basilisk trying to eat you. Taking me to a secluded spot and whipping your dong out to play with it. Just BC, I had kissed you a few times. Then, not stopping when I wanted to leave. Serious lack of self-control there. Telling me I could be hot if I tried working out a little bit because I had the makings for a hot body. He wasn't even fit himself. Your real name not being what you told me it was when we met and first chatted online. ETA. He changed it to sound hot BC. He thought his real name was why he wasn't getting matches dates. Making me listen to you loudly recite poetry as if it were open mic night in a brightly lit bubble tea cafe. Political religious debates. Even if I agree with your views, just know. ETA. Not a conversation. The topic itself is fine for me, but not ranting and holding a one-sided debate. I'm going to pretend all of this was one guy. Completely different beliefs and politics. I've had multiple guys bring me a Bible and segue into asking me to dinner to teach me about the Lord. They never understood why I wasn't excited. Missionary dating is the worst. Any comment that suggests they're insecure about themselves, i.e. a criticism of something, that's clearly projection. I bet you got your job by batting your eyelashes. I've been trying to get into X job for ages and it's too hard. Or anything that tries to or succeeds in making me second guess myself, my instincts. I once asked a first date to leave and let me eat in peace because he started lecturing me on not eating a burger if I wanted to look like my skinny like a 12-year-old boy sister. Rudeness, patronizing behavior, arrogance, talking about exes. Like seriously, if you ain't over them then take that somewhere else and away from me. Talking about an ex. Or only talking about themselves and not expressing any interest in me. Sometimes I think guys think a date is a time to brag about how smart you are or how great you are. Just be relaxed. When in doubt, ask her about herself. And be a good listener. Hopefully she will do the same. If they spend the whole time looking bored and disinterested, at least pretend you're having fun. Or tell me you want to go home. Don't make me sit here uncomfortably for 2 hours and give me one-word answers constantly. Talking about all the conspiracy theories they believe in. No, Chaz, it isn't a commonly held belief that all of the US presidents descended from the same bloodline. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.